Hi, this is Daniel from DSyk.Music, and welcome to my Wwise and Unity Space Shooter audio demo. So going into the Wwise session, I've got a switch group over here called Music System, and what this is going to let me do is using the switches system A, B, and C, it's going to call the respective section of music to be played on the next loop. I'll talk a little bit more about this in depth a little later on. In the states group, there's just one state group called game pause, and that's just going to have either a state not paused or paused. This is just going to signal to the game to apply a low pass filter over any audio playing when the player has paused the game. Going into the events, most of these events are sound effects calls. Over here I've got some events to set the switches, and finally one event to stop the music system. This is going to call whenever the player gets killed and to stop the music system. Going into the audio tab, I've got my routing over here, master, music, sound effects, UI, and the actor mixer hierarchy, pretty straightforward here. I've got a mixer for any sound effects that come out of the enemies, the player, and for these sound effects, I've also randomized the pitch and the volume just to make it fun. And now going into the interactive music hierarchy, I've got the music system over here, the switch group. And over here you can see the playlist being called with the switches A, B, and C. So inside each playlist, I've got a number of segments. The playlist and segment is just basically an 8-bar repeating loop. What makes all these segments different is different variations. So for example, I've got bass, drums, different leads, stuff like that. And that's going to give a lot of randomization per 8 bars. In this music system alone, there's 20 children. And this one, there's 8 children. And in the final one, there's actually 48. So you can imagine how much variation this is going to give each time the music system is played. This stands out so much more than just playing a 2-minute loop. All right, so now in Unity, I've got Wwise integrated. The project's finished, but an overview here. So I've got sound bank loading up over here. I've got some of the Wwise events on simple things like on trigger collision enter, whenever the player gets hit by something, it'll play the player explosion sound. For the music system starting on this game object, I've also got the initial system to start off under the switch A. And going over here to coding, mono-develop, here's the music system controller. So basically this is going to run a loop for the entirety of the game. And every it's going to wait 13 seconds, and then it's going to give me my music system choice. And that's down here, this function. It's just going to look between a random range of these 3 functions, and it's going to determine which one of them is going to play. So that's going to either output my system A switch, system B, or system C. And this is how the music is going to be varied randomly. So going back to the music system, the script is going to output a random integer between 0 and 2 in the console, and that's going to determine which switch, A, B, or C, is going to be switched in Wwise. And with this system, it's always going to output a random integer each time, which means it might repeat sometimes, but there's enough variation within the music segments to counter that. For the demo, I'll start off by hitting the escape, bringing up the pause menu and the pause state. Next, I'll show you what happens when the player is killed and how the music system fades out. After that, I'll just restart and you can hear for the whole demo how the music system varies and everything else. Enjoy!